that everything be done decent and in order, that we do the will and the wishes of the people that we serve, and that we maintain dignity and respect for each other and have basic decorum.
Yes.
We ask it all in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please face the flag, render the proper address, and say along with me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I said fellowship. I thought I was at church, though. That was guilty.
That's all I can tell him. But he told me that she was communicating with somebody after he said, Stephen, I didn't get that.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, next item, please.
Are there any agenda additions at this time?
I see none. Move on to
Next, we move to citizen comments. Citizens who wish to address the commission must fill out a comment card and forward to the parish president or the clerk of the commission. I have no cards, Mr. President.
I don't have any either.
And we'll move, we have no visitors. We have reports by the administration.
Dr. Wilson?
Yes, sir.
It's your show.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
But first of all, we had a commissioner request to invite Mr. Mike Woods, who came last time from the State Department of Fisheries and Wildlife, to come back. And of course, we didn't get a favorable response about his attendance. He did suggest one of his subordinates to come and appear before you all, but we didn't get a conclusive date. Mr. Jeff Sibley on my admin report is a tentative show, so we couldn't get him nailed down to either this day or next Thursday. So either if he's not here today, he will be here Thursday. And that's Mr. Jeff Sibley from the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife, the biologist.
That is what he
To
said.
talk about the Johnsonville plant.
Right.
Okay, I know we wanted them both to be here the same day, but we did give it our best effort. That didn't yield much results in terms of him coming back. So, however, we have Mr. John Bourquet here today, and Mr. Lincoln. They own the water mower, and they're here to give a presentation on their equipment and what it could be used to deal with the Johnsonville plant in our area lakes. So at this time, would you all like for them to come forward to present the information they have on their mowing equipment?
Can you please give us your name and address before we start, sir?
My name is John Bork, the inventor and owner of Watermore, and I live on Highway 154, 2100 M Grove,
Schedule wouldn't allow her.
zip code 71051.
You can proceed. You can proceed at this time.
I was going to run that film to show you that we went to Cypress Black Bayou, and they asked us to go over there and to help them out with that Sylvania. We went in there with our machine. It was probably about 90 acres, and we did it in 7 days. We had a half an acre left to do.
Did it what, in 7 days?
We cleaned it in
Really?
7 days.
Wow.
And then, you know, we grinded, picked it up. So, well, I thought you could have saw it, you know.
Right.
And then, then I also have another machine with it to where it goes towards the bank.
Okay.
I got a boom in the front of the boat, and what it does, I can push it to the motor, to my machine, and I can grind it up. So, and it's really, you know, I mean, the picture's not there. Maybe I can run over and see if he's got it to see it. If y'all want to see it.
I'll go check with him. I'll go check with him.
And
No, it will not play. The deal is, it wasn't compatible with the equipment we have.
Okay.
Okay.
all right. Okay, so, is there any questions that you would like to ask?
Commissioner Johnson has a question.
Yeah, Mr. Bork, thank you for coming today. We talked earlier today. I just wanted to try to give the commissioners some insight on the work that you did up at Cypress Lake and how successful that was of getting rid of that giant Sylvania up there. And once you answer that, then I have some more questions.
Okay, we went into this lake where it was like a foot and a half, 2 foot deep of Sylvania. We went in with my machine. We picked up 1.5 feet at a time. We grind it, set it back into the water, and you seen some real fine, real fine flake. And in 8 hours, it was gone. You know, everything is gone. So we did that. We opened up their channels. People couldn't get their boats down. So we went into the channels. We cleaned them all out. Now they can use, you know, they can use it. I went back a month ago to look at the lake. And like I said, it's probably have about an acre to half an acre left that was stood in a corner that, you know, they knew that. Mr. Berry knew that. And he was hoping that the winter would help him kill it, but it's still there, you know. By spraying it, what happens is you have to kill that top layer first. Well, it's still growing below.
Right.
You know, it just keeps getting thicker and thicker and thicker. Well, what we do is we pick it up, and then if you do have to use your chemicals, then you have just one layer, you know, and there's hardly nothing there, you know, like real close to your banks, like 1 foot, 2 foot from your banks. Then you could go out and spray it. Then it'd be, you know, maybe it would help out, you know. But with my machine, you see immediately with my machine results, you know.
What's the typical cost for 8 hours?
For 8 hours was $1,700, and then that's what they're paying. That's what they're paying their sprayers. Wildlife Fisher's paying their sprayers $1,700 per boat. That's 2 men on the boat. We have a machine that will pick it up, grind it, and a boat that will push it towards the machine, and for $1,700, 8-hour day.
What's the I guess the efficiency rate of that? Have you used it and then followed back up, say 6 months later, a year later, to see if any Salvania has grown back into that?
We did.
area?
That's what we did. We went back and I talked to Mr. Berry, who's over the park, and he says, you know, it's looking real good. You know, I mean, it's you know, people can enjoy their lake, you know, and so what's going to happen if you know, the ones that still left, the product that's still left, when summertime comes, then you know it's going to start doubling and tripling, and so I think he wants us to go back and get in it, get the best we can.
So when it is grinded up and put back into the water, does it come back?
It don't generate. No, it doesn't. It doesn't regrow. It goes to the bottom. It sinks to the bottom. It needs sunlight to live. But when I do grind it up, it turns it to mush. Okay, and it's 95% water, 5% matter is what I'm putting back in the water. So after I grind it, you can squeeze it with your hand,
Right.
and there's hardly nothing left. I mean, it's almost all gone because it's water, and that's what you're actually putting back into your lake.
Okay,
You know.
thank you.
Commissioner Escaday?
Yes, to Mr. Bork.
Yes, sir.
You said you roughly costs $1,700 a day for your setup, and it's the same thing for a boat and 2 men to spray?
That's correct.
Do you cover about the same amount of territory?
They cover, I'm telling you, they cover 25 acres, they're saying, okay? But they cover surface, okay? So I cover what's below. You know, if it's 1 foot there, I take care of it. If it's 2 foot, I take care of it. So we probably, if it's just one layer, and we can go, we're gonna do an acre, an hour. You know, we could do that. But when it comes to the product, it doesn't stay 1 inch. I mean, you know, because it could be 1 foot and then 1 inch and then a 2 foot, you know, because it just floats, you know, like an island. So
Your method is slower, but it totally kills the weed from top to bottom.
correct. And then
And the spray method just kills the top, and you hope that the bottom, it trickles down to the bottom.
but it won't. It won't. That's the deal. That's why they're having this problem. That's why Mr. Berry he knew that. He knew that what we had to do was get all, as thick as it could, get it, and then whatever's left, then they can work with the sprayers. The sprayers could work with them, and, maybe they can get results. But I know what my machine gives, it gives the results instant.
And they're, I guess, in effect, more permanent than the other method, in your opinion?
You mean, does it work better? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the effect is longer lasting. Nothing's permanent. It lasts a lot longer.
Yeah, it is, because there's nothing growing. Once you clean that acre, you don't have to worry about it. You go to the next acre, and just, you ain't gonna worry about it, because, when you spray
unless
it.
the wind moves it over.
And that's beautiful, when the wind helps us. I mean, we love it, because just like in trees, and if you just saw the video, you just saw that this machine actually pulls the product. So as we go in, and it's in the trees, as we go, once you break up this salvia, once you get the pressure off of it, then the wind will move it. I'm talking about it'll move it like a sailboat.
Because it's not so congested, it's got room to move.
That's correct. And then here we go with our machine. It comes right to us, and we kill it. We cut it and kill it.
Thank you.
So that's what we do.
Commissioner Williams?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Board. Again, always good to see folks from our community being creative and innovative. Most of the questions I've had, do you think a two-prong approach would be more efficient, cut and spray?
Yeah. I mean, it would help.
Together.
Yeah, it could work together, What I'm saying is, whatever's left, and there's going to be very little of it, then you can spray it. Then you'll have more time, because it's just one plant that's floating. Where the other way, you have a foot, 10 inches, 6 inches, you're going to have to come back and spray. And if it's 10 inches deep, you're going to have to come back 10 times. But while it's doing that, it's growing. It's still growing. See, so when they leave for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month, it has done double or triple. That's why they're not sticking, it's not, that's why.
Like those homes that sit right on the water where the plant is growing, can you get closer to just the spray? You can get close right up on those homes.
Well, what I can do is, like I say, I have this other boat, and it's a 16-footer, and it's got a boom in the front of it. And what I do is I can go in with it and push it towards the machine. So all my machine needs is an opening, a boat run. That's all it needs, and I can move it off. We can move it off.
Have you had a second chance to make a presentation to the Fish and Wildlife? Have you had a second chance?
I sure did.
Department gave you another second chance?
I sure
They
did.
couldn't see where you guys can coexist together?
No.
Because depends on calculating the math and the acreage. That depends on how the government funds projects. So
That's correct.
Hopefully we can work to try to get to an audience that can get your machine working in our lakes and our rivers. So
Yeah.
we're not gonna give up on you. Don't give up on us.
No, I'm not going. No, I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy. I mean, look, but what I'm saying is, you will see in 8 hours what I've done compared to your sprayers, because your sprayers is going to be there.
Well, let me ask the administrator now. Do we have to wait on the Department of Wildlife Fishing if we want to take matters in our own hand and use them around the area that are having problems, or can we do something out within the house ourselves?
So
Get
we
those
can.
people some relief. They're on those big $300,000 or $400,000 homes. We want to be able to get out in their big boats out there.
In Caddo Lake, we don't have any jurisdiction of the lake, so we have to deal with the Department of Fishery and Wildlife and the Corps of Engineers. And then in the Cross Lake, the Cross Lake Compact will have to give approval to the process. But we can't unilaterally act on our own to do it.
I'm saying the city and the parish can come together
Yes.
to work out a master plan to address the people that are along that lake. We couldn't coordinate something together.
Yeah, for Cross Lake, yeah, I've already talked to Commissioner Johnson today about that.
Have you put on, have you got any exploratory or feasibility study to see what it
Not
takes?
yet, not yet.
John, are you exploring that?
Yeah, that's what we'll talk about it after he comes today. That was
I
the
ain't
reason
trying to
for
get
this.
in your business, okay.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
I got my own way of doing that.
Okay, that's right.
Okay, next item.
One other question.
I'm sorry.
Mr.
Sorry,
Moore.
hang on, Mr. When is the best time to attack this Sylvania?
Right now.
Cool, yeah.
It's when it's called, because when it's in a dormant stage, and it just, that's the best time. And like I said, once you get rid, once you get rid of an acre, you don't have to You ain't got to worry about it, you know, whatever. If you have a pod left, then everybody has to worry about it, because that little pod will grow, you know, so. But the winter time is the best time to do it.
Okay, and have you ever had like community folks to come and try to help you push this stuff to you and all
Well, I'll
that?
tell you what they did over the, and it was really amazing. Everybody at their houses that I would pass in the front of, one man went and took him a PVC pipe and was standing on his dock and moving it towards my machine so I could pick it up, because, I mean, he hated it so much that he stood there for 8 hours, him and his wife, and they were just pushing it. And the other guy took his boat, he turned it around and kicked 2 boats. He turned them around, and then what it did was, because it started washing off the bank and pushing it all out towards our machine. It was amazing what the people did, was, you know, to get rid of it, you know what I'm saying? And one guy took a blower. You spray, I mean, you blow your carport and all that. He was on the bank, at his bank, where his boat's at, and just steady blowing it, and we were just steady cleaning it up for him. So they was all happy. They loved it, because they saw results.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank y'all for letting me come out.
Dr. Wilson, you have another matter?
Yes, sir. We actually had Ms. D'Amato from the NPC invited to come today, but we've been contacted and she will not be available until February the 17th, which is the next work session.
Sure.
Okay? And the last item we have for you, we have an update on the riverboat funding situation. So, Ms. Bryant, would you care to tell us what's going on there? There should be a letter at the station, but
We see the letter.
just want to kind of give you a little synopsis of what's going on with that.
Erica?
Yes, Commissioners, based on our projections, the riverboat monies will come in 11% under budget. At the time we did the 2014 budget, we knew we would not make our projected budget number. However, we didn't think it would be 11%, but we had a significant decline in the last quarter of 2013, and so the riverboat monies will come in 11% under budget. We have enough reserves in the riverboat fund to offset the shortage for 2013. However, we will review the numbers in 2014, and we may have to present a budget amendment to you all to cover the expenses in the riverboat fund for 2014 because of the significant decline in riverboat.
When will that be done?
We will look at it the first quarter of 2014. You have a time lag, and when you get the monies, we're about a month or 2 month lag on when you actually get the revenues for that month. So December may not come in until February. So you don't have a good projection, but right now the numbers are, if it continues to come in at what has been coming in, we're looking at 1.3, 1.4 million.
As opposed to?
As opposed to we budgeted 1.6 million. You did budget some funds coming out of the oil and gas for 2014 to cover some of the expenditures. So we would just have to see where we, if we continue to have the decline, where we would come up short. We would have to make an amendment because you're using your reserves for 2013 to offset the shortage in 2013. So for 2014, you will not have that level of reserve, which indicates why having a reserve is important. So when you do have a budget shortfall, you have your reserve to draw off of when you have that shortfall. And so at this point, if you have budget amendments for 2014 that you would like to do, we would have to have some other source of revenue to cover those 2014 amendments. We will cover all that you've budgeted for 2014, but any additional, we would have to have a source of funds to cover those additional.
We think the primary reason is Margaritaville.
Yeah.
We think that's the causing effect of this particular reduced income coming in from riverboat funds.
Right. The majority of the Samstown has stayed consistent. Boomtown has decreased, and most of that is as a result of Margaritaville.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
No, sir. That concludes my report for today, sir. Yes,
Commissioner Lynch?
Yes, I just have a few questions. What do you know what we budgeted in 2012 for riverboat?
For 2012, we budgeted 1.8.
say, we knew Margaritaville was coming.
We decreased the budget for
We
20,
we knew Margaritaville was coming, and we budgeted 1.8 million in 2012, and 1.7 million in 2013. Now, if anybody thought that that vote was not going to have more of a significant impact than $100,000, you know, that's something that we probably needed to look at a little bit closer in our estimation. I just don't want anybody to get the impression that the commission, you know, just blew it on that. We're talking about $194,365 between what was actually received and versus projected, right?
no, that was what was budgeted. When we did the
What was
20,
budgeted?
right, when we did the 2014 budget, we indicated that we anticipated the numbers would not come in.
Okay,
when we
let me stay with my question though, Erica. Okay, 1.726,500 was budgeted.
At that time, Commissioner, we had no information.
No, I just want to know, is that the amount that was budgeted?
1.7,
Okay.
yes, that was the
And-
total budget for
And
20.
the actual revenues of 1,532,100.
Yes.
Right, the difference between those two is 194,365, and of course, I'm doing this by hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is the amount that's in the reserves prior to all of this? How much do we have?
Prior to all of that, we had a $600,000 reserve.
Okay, so there's still 600,000 minus the 194,365?
No, ma'am, when we prepared the 2014 budget, we knew then that our numbers would be less. When we submitted the 2014 budget, I'm just explaining.
No, I got that part, but I'm saying.
Let me explain why the 600 is not less than 194.
Okay.
When we presented the 2014 budget, we knew that we would not achieve it, so we gave you an estimate of 1.66. So in essence, to cover that shortage, we knew we would have to go into the fund balance. So you had to use fund balance to budget for 2013 as well as projected 2014.
But why would you do that? If you
Because-
knew it was gonna come in less?
Because based on what you all said what you wanted to come out of the Riverboat Fund, I communicated to you all in the committee meeting that we would be using reserves to cover the total expenditures that you wanted for NGOs. And that any additional, we would have to look at additional revenues. We even transferred in $200,000 from the oil and gas fund.
Right, I got that
So
part.
when we prepared the 2014 budget, we knew that we would we knew we would have to use reserves to cover everything that the commission decided they wanted to budget out of the riverboat.
Right, I got that.
And
But
my
the-
indication with that was that's what the reserves were for.
Okay, but the projected income is not based on reserves, about you taking money in and out of reserves. It's based on anticipated revenue, right?
It's an estimate and based
Right, I
on the,
understand it's an estimate, but it's
based on
based on what you anticipate getting in.
based on the trend at the time.
Right,
We-
which would be, the 1.3 would be more reflective of that, is what I'm saying.
Not at the time, that was not the trend. In the last few months of the quarter, the revenues have
But you're saying
declined.
you already knew it was gonna come in less.
We knew it would come in less and we budgeted less, but I don't have a crystal ball to know what the exact number is gonna be. It's an estimate. And based on the estimate, and based on the numbers that were coming in at the time, that's the projection we put in place. Now, if I could know exactly what that number was gonna be, then we would have presented you all with that number. I did not anticipate it to be as significant as 1.5.
Right.
We knew we would have a decline. We didn't know how much of a decline. And it could actually go back up because what you're having is a situation where you're just transferring revenue. So the residents may decide they no longer want to go to Margaritaville and start going back to Boomtown, and the numbers could go up. But it's just the estimate based on what the numbers are trending at the time. When we did the 2014 budget, Margaritaville was open. And so we felt like the impact on the revenue was what it was. We didn't anticipate, I didn't think that it would decline even further, but it did.
Okay, so it was based on what you all felt the impact would be.
based on what the numbers were coming in for the first 6 months of the
But I'm hearing two
year.
different things, but we can talk about that later. I'm hearing you knew that we were gonna have to dip into the fund balance, which means it was gonna be less than what we estimated the intake would be.
Correct.
That's the point. Okay, so that, we knew it was gonna be less is the point I'm
Right, we knew it was gonna be less, just
Okay.
didn't think it would be 1.5.
Let me ask you, there's a sentence in here that says, "We have adjusted our 2013 expenditures and other financing uses in the Riverboat Fund to offset the decrease in the revenues."
Other financing uses would be, we're talking about using the reserves. And when I say expenditures, you have some expenditures that were not used to the total budget. So you have some expenditures that are coming in under budget that would help offset what you had budgeted. And then also the financing uses is the reserve balance. Long as your reserve balance does not go into a negative, you can use the reserve to budget the fund, to offset the decrease in revenues.
Okay, well, this is kind of brings up something I know I've been talking about for quite a while. Some of those other financing uses that are money that's taken out of the riverboat, debt service, some capital projects, and that type thing, being taken out of riverboat as opposed to some other funds, general fund or whatever, some other funds other than riverboat. You know, I think we may need to start looking a little closer at that.
Yes, ma'am,
Thank you.
we can look at that, but also for
That's, I'm
20
saying, I'm kind of saying that to the commission,
Right.
but that's fine.
But-
I
but
just wanted
just
to
to
make
let
a
you-
statement, I'm not asking your opinion on it.
I know, but just to-
Because if I say general fund, you're gonna have a fit.
But just to let the commission know, you have budgeted $1.6 million for NGOs for 2014.
Right.
It is our anticipation you will not bring in $1.6 million in riverboat revenue. So even
We need to
without the
adjust those
debt
other
service
uses.
fund, even without the debt service fund or the capital outlay fund, we still have an issue as far as
How much do you think that is?
Well, I will have
Those
to.
amounts?
Which one?
The debt service and the capital projects that's taken out.
Debt service, we're budgeting 195,000. And for capital outlay, we budgeted 400,000.
400?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
But for you're transferring in 200,000 from the oil and gas. So obviously, we'll be looking at all items that are budgeted out of the riverboat fund to determine how we'll cover those expenditures for
Absolutely.
2014.
okay, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Epperson?
Mr. Wilson,
Sir.
when did you find out that the chair would not be able to make the meeting from the MPC?
Today,
Today, what time?
maybe about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah. An hour and a half ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The Commissioner Epperson,
3:30.
Commissioner Epperson, I know that Mr. Jean indicated to me, asked whether I'd been contacted by the president. I think you said that she was supposed to contact me or something, or she's supposed to contact someone. I haven't been contacted by her.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr.
Yeah, Commissioner Epperson, I talked with Stephen earlier today, and that's when he asked me, he said, well, hadn't she contacted y'all? I said, no, sir, Woody and I hadn't gotten any contact. And Stephen, I believe you said that she had asked for email addresses for the president and for Woody and myself, is that right?
Okay, my question's answered. That's
Okay.
good, that's good. How do you pronounce this name? Is that French? DeMarteau? How do you pronounce that? Somebody give me a correct pronunciation.
Des Marteau.
Des or DeMarteau?
She says Des Marteau.
Des Marteau. Okay.
Yes,
Leah,
no, she's got to
Des
pronounce, I'm sorry.
Marteau.
Des Marteau.
Thank
Get
you,
the S.
thank you, thank you, thank you, English,
I was
French
wrong,
teachers.
it's Des
Thank
Marteau,
you.
it's French.
All right, I said it was French. They say de sometime
You're
instead
right.
of des.
Des
They say
and y'all?
de. Like Bo, Thibodeau, Bo, Escadé, Escadó.
Epperson,
Okay, y'all sound like
Okay,
three
thank you,
teams.
sir.
Heckle and Jekyll.
Okay, Commissioner Epperson, you got any?
No, sir, that's it.
Commissioner Williams?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to expound on what Commissioner Lynch spoke about the riverboat boarding fee, let's say the NGO fund, and how the finance director explained how we get to this point. At this point, by the free enterprise and the competition of the other boats would cause our funds to be decreased. I hope that usually our proposal are a lot more than what is allocated in that budget anyway. You know, not unusual. The community always budgeted is always going to be a lot higher. So I hope that we have the authority to ask this administration to forecast when that's going to happen, that we may be able to intelligently make a decision and maybe put money back into the NGO fund to the point where it was in 2012. It's 1.8 million. I don't know what was requested this year was what was requested this year probably was a lot more than what was in the fund. Usually that would happen. But why should we be allowing someone to cap what's an NGO fund anyway? I think we did that before I came here. We capped it at a certain amount. Why should it be capped anyway? It's the taxpayers' money. Well, it's outside people coming in, tourism, bringing dollars to our city and our parish. So why should there be a cap in the NGO fund? The Economic Development Fund, is it capped? Is capped out? Is any other programs capped?
Yes, it is. It is capped.
It's capped.
To the extent of what you bring in video poker.
Yeah, but I'm saying we have the ability not to utilize video poker or riverboat money how we see fit, just because it goes back into the community with the riverboat and video poker fund. There are other funds that we can shore up in that particular fund if we want to put more money back into the community. It don't necessarily have just to come out of riverboat and video poker money, because most of those dollars are coming from out of town dollars, riverboat money. They're tourism dollars. But there are dollars in the community that we do have. We have a good fund balance here. We have maintained a good integrity on how we utilize the taxpayers' money. And we feel that some of the projects are worthwhile projects in our communities. And oftentimes we done had some good debate and good discussion among the commissioners here. But there are times we may disagree on a particular project in our particular community, which benefits the entire community. So I hope that in the future, if you see that it will take some initiative, some foresight, that we look at other ways to make sure that if we can expand, improve that cap, when we see the decrease coming, that we put money in that fund to ensure that I think we should be capped. I think we should be conservative in that budget to some point. But I think we need to make sure that those programs worthwhile to all of us get funded. Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Natural Resource Committee is going to be meeting immediately after this. We're going to be talking about a water line on Maggie Lane and the oil and gas lease. Maybe we'll get a big one. We need the revenue, and then a drainage issue on Windermere. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Escaday?
Yeah, I just want to briefly, I want to commend the Department of Finance and the administration for the work that they do. Generally, their revenue forecast projections for all of our budgets, whether it's ad valorem taxes or sales taxes, property taxes, movable property, are pretty much on line. It's not an exact science. And then when you have something as volatile as casino industry and gambling in a new casino, it's a crapshoot. And so I think they did the best that they can. I kind of would doubt anybody sitting among us, myself included, could have done a much better job. It's not what we do. We're not financial actuaries or soothsayers. And what it gets down to is, you spend what you take in. And I can't recall this coming up in many, many years. So if we were financially strapped as a parish, then I could see the 5 alarms going off, and but we're not. But at the same, well, I wasn't going to say like the city, Lyndon, but since you did, okay, you said like the city. But so what we have to do is adjust our revenues and our expenditures, and you can spend, reinvest from this money what's provided back into the community, but there's still other needs we have to take care of. And so we have to be aware of that. But we can't go ahead and continue to do business as if we live in what's been determined, the Mardi Gras economy. Give me my free stuff, government. If the revenues to provide that free stuff is not there on a consistent basis. So I think all you know how I feel about NGOs, and as long as you use riverboat revenue, it's mostly paid from our out-of-town guests, and it's not a direct tax on our citizens, that's fine. But our revenues ought to be adjusted accordingly in a responsible way, our expenditures, allowing for use of that money in other areas where the parish needs it to provide what's considered essential services to the community. And I actually think it's going to get better. So, I don't think there's any big fire here. And I just want to once again finish up by saying I think the Department of Finance does the best they can under the circumstances. Thank you.
Commissioner Thibodeau?
Are we on communication now?
We are on communications and committee reports at this time.
All right, if you haven't, well, I know you haven't, no one has yet to turn in their priorities that we want to let the state representatives and senators know about for our meeting on the 14th. So I believe everybody was given a sheet to fill out. Please return that so that we can put that in some sort of orderly fashion to present at our meeting. That's if you want your concerns to be.
Todd, do you have those? Can you email that out to everybody again, or who's got them?
Did you
Mr.
email
Wilson,
them?
do you have those?
No, we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have.
Can you email that out to everybody again, please?
Yes, sir, we can.
So I didn't get it.
Okay.
We gave it out at the meeting.
Dr. Wilson handed them out before our last meeting, but we'll get them emailed out to everybody once again. So please get them back to Mr. Thibodeau, who's in charge of that committee at your near future, okay? Is that it, Mr. Thibodeau?
Yeah, because we'll be meeting Thursday about it.
We need to have it at your next meeting, so what you need to do is print it out and bring it to our next meeting, okay? Commissioner Williams, let's see. Commissioner Williams?
I just want to say for the record, I don't want to be taken out of context, that I think our administration is one of the best administrations in America. And I think they have done an excellent job in forecasting and predicting the outcome of the future. I've been consistent in how I say our administration has responded to the being good stewards of the taxpayers' money, and what one commission may think is not a worthwhile project. I may see something different within a particular community or the district. I may think is a worthwhile project besides roads, streets, and drainage. I do feel the quality of life is a worthwhile investment. And I think when you start investing in the people, you'll stop tearing down the buildings. So investing in the people should be something that I feel the quality of life, especially in young people. So I don't want to be misspoken and out of context that I don't support this administration and the finance director, but I think just as any other program that we do, what our responsibility, I do think children and young people, to me, is one of the most significant investments we can make into our future, into our children, and programs that affect the elderly and the poor. In spite of the money coming from outside of the parish, it's tourism dollars and riverboat money. That's not the only source of income that we can use to spend in this community. I don't want to think that video poker and casino money is the only resource that this parish has. All of the money here is the taxpayers' money, and no one commissioner should dictate what is good in one particular community and other. I think all the projects, and we share together in trying to provide a quality of life for all the citizens in this community, whether it be roads, streets, or drainage, or whether it's animal shelter. Those are all important to the taxpayers. And sales tax is a lot of tax that people spend in this community. And I just want to be misquoted that I don't support this administration, because I definitely support them 100%. Thank you.
It's duly noted, you support the administration.
Yes, I do.
Okay, Commissioner Lynch?
There'll be a personnel committee meeting Thursday.
At what time?
After the
After
the
regular meeting?
After the regular meeting. And so we're all on the committee. Just piggybacking on what Commissioner Williams just said, I really, and I didn't really want to go there, but I guess I will. It may be the tight curls, I'm not sure.
Yes.
But let me say, anytime a commissioner brings an issue to the floor dealing with something that the administration, you know, is involved in, I really resent anybody trying to turn that into something personal. It's not personal, commissioner against administration, or that you're taking a swipe at administration. We have a constituency that we represent. And whatever questions, whatever concerns that we have, that's what they send us down here for. I'm not down here to kiss anybody's behind, to give people, you know, pump people up or do all of that just for the sake of doing that. Some cities and counties are in some of the problems that they're having is because they have people that sit on the board that do not ask questions, that do not raise concerns. We're nowhere near that because we don't do that. We have people here that are conscientious, that ask questions, that do research, that work together with administration. So I don't really want to, you know, I hear that often, particularly, you know, because I often have a lot of questions and a lot of concerns about a lot of things. But I don't want, and I don't think Erica thinks that because, you know, I don't think she thinks that anyway, but I just want to make sure that I say that publicly. It's not anything against them. But the reality is they're well taken care of, okay? They're well educated. We paid for a lot of it. They're well paid. You're talking about probably more than $500,000, I'll say, is salaries and benefits in that department. They're well paid. They're well educated. I know that they can do their job. To ask the questions concerning this fund or any other fund is what we're here for. So it's not personal. It's not against them. I support the administration, and the administration supports the commission. Right, Wood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we're all on the same team. Okay. I'm my parents' child, but that doesn't mean that they don't get on my behind sometimes, even at 50 years old. You know, yeah, we could.
Pick that number up, you lying. Pick that number up, you lying.
But they still, you know, they still feel that they can tell me what to do, even though sometimes I don't agree with that. But anyway, so that's my little 2 cents on that. Thank you.
Commissioner Epperson?
Mr. Harris. Can I see you? May I see you, please?
Can you come up forward?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about that situation I called, you know, while I was on the way. Was anyone able to catch those people up there?
Yes, sir. We caught up with the gentleman. He was from Texarkana. He just moved here. He'd been here approximately 30 days, and he just kind of set up shop and started to sell his animals out there off of Jefferson Page and Pines Road. We did issue him a summons and corrected the situation and moved him out.
Point of information, can he let us know what we're talking, Mr. Epperson knows, none of us really know what he's talking about.
We had a situation off of Jefferson Page and Pines Road where a gentleman was selling animals on the side of the road in the right-of-way.
Okay.
Commissioner Epperson called us and asked us to take a look at it. We went out there and found out the gentleman was from Texarkana, and that the gentleman had just moved here. He said he'd been here about 30 days. He did not have any proper identification on him, but the animals were current on their vaccinations, but he didn't have the right to based on the ordinance. So we issued him a summons, and he did move out. We got all his information. I'll be providing a report to you shortly, sir.
Okay.
Been taken care of?
Yes, sir. It's taken care of.
Okay. Thank you. Just a point of information, too. We're talking about the budget. I don't know how long some of you have been here. I don't even know if Woody was here, but when we had Lloyd Leonard, Danny Dumas, the budget was a process. Do you hear me?
That's right.
You think a long commission meeting sometime at 2 is a couple of hours or so, but you should have been here during the budget process. All the department heads had to come in and go down line by line. So, yeah, nobody shouldn't get offended you know, about questioning. You know, we all work together. We all put good ideas back and forth, administration as well as us underpaid commissioners. Contributed immensely to what happened down here.
Tell Timmy don't give you his money.
So, you know, if you think this is something and you got to, you know, stroke the administration or tell them, you know, think somebody's attacking them or something. You should have been here when real budget deliberations was going on. That's all I have.
Okay, next item.
Next, we have President's report.
Okay, don't.
It was a trip, baby.
Just to tell you a few things that we've done this past month. I did, this past week went to Ken's annual meeting. I'm sure you're going to report on that probably Thursday a little bit better, but it was a great meeting, so I attended that. We also went to the Southern Hills Business Association meeting last week with Commissioner Cox and Commissioner Smith. They've given an update to that association. And we went to the North Shreveport Business Association meeting a couple weeks ago with Randy, and Scott Martinez was the speaker. So it is busy being president. We're trying to do the best job we can to keep our name out there, and appreciate y'all's support. Next item.
We have no old business. We move to new business. Authorized introduction of ordinance number 5382 of 2014, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for capital outlay fund and the public works fund for the year 2014, providing appropriation $775,000.
Johnson.
It's moved by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Williams to move this matter to Thursday.
John don't like it.
No discussion. Will you please vote? That passes.
Authorized introduction of ordinance number
8 to 3. Okay. All right, next item.
Authorized introduction of ordinance number 5383 of 2014, amend the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures of Economic Development Fund, appropriation of $150,000 for the I-49 corridor study.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Escaday and second by Commissioner Lynn.
Question.
I have a question by Commissioner Lynch and Commissioner Williams.
Has the contract been signed on this?
Not yet, ma'am.
It's been.
I think they're working on that. They're in the process of that. Ken, you want to come up and give us an update, just a brief update on that, just briefly?
Oh, here he comes.
Just real quick, we had trouble with Camaris having them registered in the state of Louisiana. They really didn't want to spend the little funds to do that. They have gone out, they're registered with the state of Louisiana, and the contracts are just dropped in my email basket about 15 minutes ago, and I'm going to email them to Chicago tonight. They'll sign them and send them back, and all we need, the funding, from what I understand, lapsed. It was from 2013. Since we didn't get the funding in place, or the contracts in place in 2013, we're just asking for the funding now so we can finish the contracts.
And when did we authorize that? What month was that? Last year?
I'm not
Y'all
sure.
remember?
I'm not
I think
sure.
it was September.
Yeah, it was probably August
or September last year.
We're thinking September.
It was subsequent to the budget, so it was
Yeah, they went to
September.
committee and
About September.
It was subsequent to the
It was in the fall.
meeting we had with you all for the 2014 budget, so it was around September, October.
Okay, so it's taking them 4 or 5 months? 'Cause I
Yes.
thought we were working under some time thing, needed to get it done as soon as possible.
there's already a contract for the Unified Development Code. This was in addition to.
I got that part,
Okay.
but I'm saying this study, to get this study underway.
Yeah, it should have went a lot faster, but obviously they had not at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Williams?
In this study,
Hang on.
administration, in the study, in the corridor lines, is it also include the urban part or just north?
I-49 corridor, I think 2 or 3 miles on either side of the I-49 north part's being constructed now. That's what the study was geared towards.
I hope that when we go out for requests for RIs or P or whatever, that we specifically work together to ensure that a minority has a fair opportunity to participate. Since their community is going to be affected by I-40, man, there ought to be some participation of people
That's a part of it.
live in that area.
Yeah, so the last time they were here, you brought the same topic up, and they did hire, I want to say it's called Dudley Enterprises. They're a local minority firm in town.
Correct.
They've hired them to do like outreach.
When the contract is awarded, I want to see the contract. When it's signed, sealed, and delivered, I like to see it. Even when whoever wins the award, I like to see it. Because I want to make sure every dime that comes out of this parish, government funding, that they be inclusive. It ought to be where anybody that does a contract with us, We ought to make sure they getting a fair wage out there. They're not paying people minimum wage and those things with government contract. We can't tell them what to do in the public. We ought to make sure people at least getting more than the minimum wage, at least $10 an hour. You can't do that with no $7 an hour no more, because your family gonna be subsidized all the time. So with government money, government contract, we ought to find a way to amend our policy to include that they pay at least their employees, the people at the bottom, at least a decent wage of $10 an hour. That's something we need to look at, because you can't make it on no $7, $8 no house out here for the family. So I mean, that's something we need to look at in the future. Maybe not now, but I will be working with this administration to, any government contract go out there, they pay their employees at least $10 an hour. We pay good at the parish. We got good salaries here, but our contracts ought to reflect that too as well. Thank you.
Mr. Epperson?
Ken, I assume you were in that meeting. You know, we brought up about the outreach, maybe hiring someone that was familiar with the area to help in the getting like the meetings together with the citizens as to what was transpiring. Okay, you say you've engaged. Who is it, Dudley?
We haven't. They have. When Camaris was here, when Camaris was here, they went back to revise their proposal. And I'll be honest, it's been months since they've sent me the email. I want to say it was Dudley Enterprises. I looked them up because I wasn't familiar with them, and they're registered with the city as through their fair share program. They're not registered with us, but they don't need to since they're going to be working through Camaris. But I have seen their sheet. In fact, I think they're
out of Greenwood, aren't they?
I'm sorry?
I think they're out of Greenwood.
They could be. I wasn't really familiar with them, but they are.
Hang on, Commissioner Epperson's got the floor. Please let him speak.
Okay, I mean, this is, we have an amendment to do 150,000. Okay, certainly I would think it would be respectable of them to say, hey, this is parish business we're doing. We've gotten somebody that's with the city. Well, shouldn't we have gone through the parish's vendors process first and see if there was that service? That's what I was talking about when I was in the meeting. You know what I mean?
You're right. That's logical.
Yes.
So, I don't think they should have engaged that until they came through the parish to see if we had someone that could have fit that bill. Because I think Mr. Wilson didn't, I had told someone about the meeting that we had, and I thought that they had sent you a resume or something relative to being interested in it.
Yes, sir. But, yeah, things were well underway. That, in fact, did happen. That process was well underway. And the last meeting we had in the committee, that was suggested that we have that component. And so when the, I don't know who let the project out. Was it the NPC?
Yes.
Bid the whole project as an addendum to the current project we have to do the Unified Development Code for the parish. And we told them that we want to piggyback onto the current project, and we would like to have a minority participation in that. And they went out and they sought that. Now, whether it's the city, we have a reciprocal process that if you register with the city, our school board, the parish as a minority company, we recognize all of it, because we are trying to build our pools of candidates, and sometimes we kind of fall short. So that's why we went to that process. Whether you be at the state minority program, emerging business program, the city, or the school board, we can use any source to satisfy the requirements for a contract if we are looking for a particular skill set. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's how we usually conduct business relative to making sure we have inclusiveness in our process.
That's all I have.
Mr. Escudé?
Okay, I'd just like to offer a brief refresher on what brought us up to this point. The Metropolitan Planning Commission sent out the proposals and chose Camaris Associates to do the UDC study for the city of Shreveport and the 5-mile boundary that the MPC has jurisdiction in. The reason they were selected was because there's nobody in this parish and or this state, from what I'm aware of, that does that particular type of work. It's such a specialized work. So MPC, along with the city council representatives and representatives from this body, determined that if we wanted it done, we had to get the best of what we could find. So there was extensive interview done with these companies and selection with MPC board members, city council members, parish commission members. They were thoroughly interviewed and vetted, and the body decided, the collective entities, it was a unanimous vote to select them. Subsequently, in our long-range planning meetings, when the need was identified by the committee that we really needed to go ahead and extend the study all along the I-49 corridor to the parish line at Arkansas, or the state line, outside of the MPC's jurisdiction, that we would have the same problem. No one here locally or actually within the state that could do that. And it was suggested and proved to be the most cost-effective and beneficial way at the time was to go ahead and offer an amendment to the contract that Camiris and Associates had with the MPC to go ahead and take care of that study. And in that, engaging local participation, and particularly minority participation, to aid them in putting that together. So it's kind of what we had to do more than what we would have liked to have done, because I think most of you know me well enough, whether you like me or not, that my preference is always to try to hire somebody from Caddo Parish to do what we can. And last year, these funds were approved. Nothing's changed, same basis. They just lapsed, I guess, based on what Mr. Ward told us. So nothing's really changed. Bottom line is we can't do it here. This is the cheapest way to do it, and they're going to engage all the rural areas, because if we do not have this, and especially with our interchanges on I-49 going to the line, to get some sort of sense of what we want, we could end up with all sorts of businesses at these interchanges that maybe we do not want, that would not be attractive to our area, conducive to quality of life and family and those kind of things. But anyway, in a nutshell, that's where we are. Thank you.
Commissioner Lynch?
Yes, I just had a quick question. Do we know what process Camiris used to choose the outreach coordinator? Do you know, does he have any idea? Mr. Escudero?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Do you have any information on how Camiris chose the outreach coordinator?
No, ma'am,
What
that
the
I do not.
process was?
I have no idea.
Can you find out for me and just let me know?
Sure, I'll email them tonight.
Does Dara know? Dara seems to indicate that Ms. Sanders knows, and she's the
Oh,
person really involved in that heavily.
I didn't see it.
How you doing?
Well, good afternoon. Commissioner Lynch, when the consultants were looking to partner with local professionals for the legal review as well as the public outreach, I assisted them in looking through the city's Fair Share Program vendors list. I have had experience working with Ms. Dudley on projects previous to this, when her responsibility was public outreach. So I was impressed with her ability to sort of balance public input and the engineers, which, you know, let's face it, they can be a little difficult. Upon my recommendation, Camiros did hire her for the public outreach portion for the Unified Development Code in order to continue that cost efficiency and the continuity in working with the locals, local stakeholders, residents. Camiros did choose to keep Ms. Dudley on as the professional public outreach person.
Do you know how much that's for?
How much they contracted with? I do know that she is receiving $50,000 for the Unified Development Code. I don't know, that's approximately 20% of that project. I don't know what her fee is going to be for the I-49 corridor if that contract is signed.
Okay, you're saying the UDC, that's separate?
That's a completely separate project.
Right.
But because...
She was already on that?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes, ma'am. And for continuity and...
Who's paying for that one?
For the Unified Development Code, you're paying for 20%?
Caddo Parish and the city, we joint fund that project, ma'am.
So we paid how much?
20%, or was it 25%?
How much?
I don't remember.
How much money?
Let me get the right number, because I'm thinking.
I don't have it off the top of my head. It was a little over 400,000.
About 475,000, I believe, if I'm
We'll
not.
get the exact number for you for Thursday.
Okay.
The total cost of the Unified Development Code is $450,000, and the city and the parish agreed to cost share that, with the city paying the majority.
Okay. Okay, thank you, that helps a lot. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Williams?
Let me just, that was awarded, we voted to share the cost with the UDC code of $450,000, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the percentage that she called out for UDC part for Ms. Dudley was $50,000. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir, that's her fee for the Unified Development Code project.
I don't, can you give me
That's the big.
can you give me the percentage of what 50,000 is to the 450? I'm just trying to see, we have a fair share program and the city has one and we got one. I'm just trying to see what percentage. Our goal is always to meet 25 and exceed 25%.
11, on 50 on 450?
Yes.
I'm just,
Yes.
Just making sure. 11%.
that's 11%. That's nowhere near the goal we try to reach and do business. That ain't right.
Yeah, but Commissioner, I'll caution you, that's, the project scope is way beyond Mrs. Dudley's part of it. It's a huge undertaking. So obviously, she wouldn't get a greater portion of the funds based on her part in that process. It'd be relative to her part.
Well, the professional survey, that her role would be
Outreach,
50,000.
but that's not the majority of what's being done.
Okay,
Now, I would say-
that was for, listen, that was for the 450 between the city and the parish.
Yes, sir.
Now, this other 150 is another project.
Yeah, I don't know that cost yet.
And they have partnered up with Ms.
Yes,
Dudley
sir.
again.
That would be a separate cost.
To do the same thing they doing for UNC.
That's correct.
And you say you went it by because of the fair share, that they're on their vendor list, but not on the parish.
It's on the parish list too. We recognize the same list.
Okay.
We share the same list.
Okay. All right. But like, as I said earlier, whenever that contract is signed by the 150, I do want a copy of it to see.
Okay.
I don't want people I want the documentation, not the conversation. I want to be able to see exactly what people, hold them accountable and be transparent.
Okay.
And I want to try to get that number up this year to make sure that we shouldn't have a policy. We're not going to track it, and we're not going to hold people in compliance.
Yes, sir.
And those are some I want to work on this year to make sure we share some of the wealth that's been generated by the parish, putting it back into the community. Because Ms. Dudley lives here.
Yeah.
She's going to spend her money here. The other people live out of town. They're going to take a large percent of that money wherever they from. They ain't going to spend their money here. So I'm like Commissioner Escudé said, we need to find, if we can, try to take care of the home team who has sustained the city and the parish when everybody else was going bankrupt. People stayed here and helped us out. So we need to try to help those people out that stay here as well and spend their goods and services in our city, recycle that money back here. So I'll be looking to try to not only meet the 25%, but try to increase it as well. Thank you.
Commissioner Lynch?
Yeah, I wanted to, I had gotten my thought a minute ago, but what I want to make sure, especially on these contracts like this one, even though it's an addendum, where we're paying the whole enchilada, that we work with MPC, because I know that there were some other, and just, I know Commissioner Epperson said he had someone, but we just want to make sure that the process is open for whoever may be interested in doing a component piece, that they have an opportunity, that people aren't just necessarily handpicked.
Cherry pick.
Okay. Even though I know Zell, and she's a personal friend of mine, and I have no problem with that, but I just want to make sure that the process is open, because sometimes people, tend to pick who they want to pick, and I don't really want us to be in that type of situation.
Okay.
Where it's not open. Okay, she's probably, since she was already on the project, the best person to do it. But we just want to make sure that other people that may have an interest or an expertise have an opportunity to at least get their stuff in and be considered. Thank you.
Okay, can we please vote for this ordinance to move forward? That passes 10-0. Are we missing? And the order out, okay. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Authorize introduction Ordinance number 5384 to deem property surplus and authorize the sale of surplus property owned by Caddo Parish.
So moved, sir.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, seconded by Commissioner Eskday. Move this matter to Thursday. See no discussion, please vote. That passes 10-0. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Authorize introduction of ordinance number 5385 to accept streets in Northport subdivision unit 4.
Moved, sir.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Williams. See no I do have discussion. Commissioner Lynch?
I just want to ask one question.
You're not Commissioner Lynch. Commissioner
Excuse me,
Lynch?
I'm sorry. I thought you called me first.
Commissioner Lynch?
Yeah.
Stephanie? Commissioner Stephanie Lynch?
Yeah, you got to start saying.
You want
Get it right.
Give us a little bit of information on what this is.
This is typically when we do subdivision streets, the developer builds streets for his development, whether it's a subdivision. This case, it happens to be there in Blanchard, the little concrete paved section in the Taco Bell. The developer built that to parish standards. We inspect it while they're building it. We look at it while they're building, inspect it, approve of the construction. We wait 2 years after it's approved with a bond. After that point, we go back out and make another inspection of it. And if there's any kind of changes that need to be made, we get the contractor to do that, or the developer to do that, and then it becomes parish. So all we're doing is we're asking.
I lost you somewhere. Hold
Yes,
on.
ma'am.
Start over. You're talking fast.
I'm sorry.
I think I'm computing slow today. Okay, start over for me. You're saying that something about Taco Bell, maybe that's what threw me off.
That
She didn't know what
got a little hungry in between. When we do subdivisions, whether they're they can be industrial, like as in this case, or they can be residential.
We do subdivision.
Well, when a developer does subdivisions, when they do roads, when they build roads to parish standards inside of a residential subdivision, or sometimes an industrial subdivision, they want the roads to become parish, where we actually take over, we own them, we do maintenance on them.
Okay, so is this private property?
No, well, no, it was dedicated to the parish. They built a road on it, and then the road was subject for
Okay, so-
inspection of building, and then 2 years.
Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure. So this is the road was already dedicated to the parish?
Correct.
Okay. And so the developer came in and built something on it?
No, it wasn't dedicated prior to, no, it was all part of the subdivision plat process. The plats came in, they wanted to build a parish road, for the parish to take it.
But I'm
It
trying
was
to-
dedicated at that time and built at that time. And we didn't sign the plat until after the road was constructed.
Okay, so is it private before that point?
Yes, it was all private. They make an application to us through a series of a subdivision plat saying they'd like to have this as a public easement, and they want to build a road on it.
Okay, and they had let us know ahead of time that they wanted to...
That's correct.
They wanted to eventually have the roads accepted into the parish.
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah. And so from that point, you all kind of oversee it.
That's correct.
I'm going somewhere with this, y'all, just hang with me for a minute. Okay, so you all oversee it and make sure everything is whatever. And then at that point, you decide.
That it's able to be taken in, and all we're doing is recommending to you that this subdivision road application is completed, it's to our satisfaction, and it's up to y'all to say, yes, you want to bring it into our road system or not.
Okay. All right, and so from this point, then we'll maintain it.
That's correct.
Okay, but they built it.
That's correct.
To the parish standards.
To the parish standards with us inspecting it. That's correct. We saw every piece of it. We saw the base, the subgrade, and the ditches. In this case, it's concrete. We watched everything in construction. We took samples of the concrete to make sure it met specifications. We took density on it. We did everything that is required as per our specifications. We did it while they were building it so we can see it being built up. Yes, and it's, and it has lasted the last 2 years.
Okay, does that include the drainage?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so the drainage and the streets.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ward. Okay, hang on. Commissioner Lynn?
Mr. Ward, this road and this land, it was privately owned and privately built and privately paid for public use to serve a private company built to Caddo Parish standards. Is that correct?
I would say everything except for the private company, you know, that it could be for, it could be,
It was-
in this case it is.
Okay.
But most cases it could be to a residential
How
house or
does-
anything of that.
How does this case differ from case 5382 for Walmart Road?
It's totally different. This is a normal subdivision plat that we would do on a residential. It just happens to be the entrance into where the Walmart's eventually gonna go. This is nothing different than we would have if it was, I think the last one we did was down in Greenwood for the Summerwood Estates Unit 5, where they built a parish road to serve 19 houses out there, and we just did the same inspection for that. Nothing different there, it just happens to be a public road that serves an industrial instead of serves a residential.
But they're both private property that was built to serve a private company that the public can use.
That's correct. And so it has to be open.
But these people, are we paying to build their roads?
No, we did not.
That's everything, thank you.
In fact, they even paid us to inspect it.
Oh, cool, even better.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. That's it.
Commissioner Escaday?
This is Northport Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
This is the property or the road that was built, Riverland Investments.
I believe so, yes, sir.
This is the same road that they want us to take into their maintenance system that Walmart is requesting that we extend for $775,000.
That is correct.
So the landowners had to build this road as a condition with DOTD to establish the the Taco Bell, correct?
That is correct.
And DOTD also informed them that any future development would require turning lanes off of Highway 1, did they not?
That is correct.
So the developers know that to do anything else with this property, and they've already agreed with DOTD that they'll put the turning lanes on Highway 1 at their expense, and that they'll take care of that. But now they're asking the parish to pay for the turning lanes, are they not?
That
In
is
the
a-
Walmart
that- that is a
proposal, Walmart, no, they're not separate. Walmart's asking, because it's the same land developer, it's the same road, for us to put the turn lanes in, correct?
That is correct.
And then they're asking us to take this road that we're considering taking into our maintenance system and extending it around the Walmart and constructing that and building that, correct?
Yes, sir. Can I add one thing? The deal is with this particular ordinance or resolution that's on this is an ordinance that's on the agenda. It actually should have been last fall. The 2-year maintenance period actually ran out last fall, way before any kind of future plans were there. We just you know, we kind of normally hold them, but I know we're talking about, you know, I usually kind of hold the ordinances on roads coming in the system until I get a few of them. And then we do the ordinance get out there. And so with us talking about the extension of it, I wanted to go ahead and make sure we got it in the system like we were originally planned 2 years ago. I just failed to do that last fall, so now it's before you today. So yes, Commissioner, I think that they're two different, but at the end of the day, they're the same thing.
At the end of the day, what we're going to do is we're asked to assume this road and make it a parish road and take it to the parish maintenance system. And we're also asked by Walmart, on behalf really of these property developers, to extend that road, which would be in our system if we paid for it automatically, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm just wondering why we don't go ahead and allow the property developers and or Walmart or whoever that is to do what they should be doing anyway on their own nickel, that is extending Northport Road, and then once the whole shoot match is said and done, coming to the parish and asking us to take it into our maintenance system. That's all. Just wanting to make that point. Thank you.
Am I up yet?
Yes, Commissioner Johnson?
Mr. Thibodeau, I understand what you meant earlier about that case we had and all the other talk that was talking about it, and then you talk about it in your district. Ken, first question. How long is this road?
Couple hundred feet.
Couple hundred feet. So we got all this discussion over a couple hundred feet of road. It's concrete. It goes from the front part of Taco Bell to the back side of the drive-thru. That's the only part we're talking about for today. That's the only part we're talking about for this ordinance right here is that 200 feet.
That's correct.
We're not talking about the part that goes into the woods. We're not talking about Walmart Road. We're not talking about none of that. It's only about 200 foot of concrete road, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, now, got that part straightened out, that it's only 200 feet of road that's been there for how many years?
2.5 years.
2 years.
2 years, okay, so, and this is the normal protocol that we do in the parish on roads.
That's correct.
So this is nothing special, no special privileges to anybody. This is normal what we normally do on the road.
Correct.
So if this road had been in the rural area, going into some woods, down through the valley, wouldn't have all this discussion. Now, it's tied to Walmart, okay? That's a whole different scenario, whole different project. So I would say my debate dealing with the Walmart road for later. I just want to let everybody know that we're only talking about 200 foot of concrete road from the front side of Taco Bell to the back.
That's correct. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Williams.
Yeah, I want to echo what distinguished commissioner from District 1 explained so eloquently about certain projects in different communities, in different districts. I thought one of the greatest economic ambassadors we've been in providing an incentive for bid. I thought we were pro-bidding for people to come here. But when we go out and seek bidders to come here, such as Bentler Steels and Elio Motors, that one of the things we do, we want to have a good incentive package for them, whether that be providing water and sewer and road and draining and public safety and good education and good tax incentive to come here. I see it as an opportunity to be an incentive to want to do business, stay on this side of the river, and let people feel comfortable about coming to Caddo and that it's pro-business. I think providing a road and access to commercial business, to stores and retail is something that the parish should be doing. Everything should be taken on a case-by-case basis when we start looking at economic development, economic opportunity. And it's not unusual for us to do that. We've done it in the past. Even some of our industrial parks and those things. So I just think and then this is Walmart, since we're on the Walmart subject, the people in Northwest Louisiana need somewhere where they can have accessibility to buy their goods and services. And also they need jobs. And yes, Walmart need to step up with the pace and pay a good quality salary for those that are at the bottom. And maybe one day we can get to make it $10 an hour for those at the bottom. And maybe we need to challenge Walmart to step up to the plate, not wait on the president or the governor to start paying people a fair wage for honest day pay. So incentive is something that we do as government to allow the private sector to be successful. And that's what we should be doing. We shouldn't pity this one against that one. If it's good in North Louisiana, it'll be good in South Louisiana. So I'd like to see us support Commissioner Johnson having to be in this district. But it's going to benefit all of us in Northwest Louisiana. So I hope we can move on, move this to Thursday and have debate on it again. But I think it shouldn't have a double standard. It shouldn't be a standard for this part of the community, this standard. When we all in this thing together, we call Shreveport. If it's good for North or South, it's good for all of us because we all win. It's a win-win. So I hope we just would support Commissioner Johnson in his initiative. Thank you.
Commissioner Thibodeau.
Yeah, Ken, most of what we take in is residential streets. I mean, so it really is unusual to take in a high traffic, and this will certainly be a high traffic street. Do we at the time, were the standards for this road higher than that of a residential?
Yes, sir. We typically you'd see an asphalt section being built for the road, and in this case, we knew that, and so the developer knew that he had plans, much greater plans at the time we built that. It was just a Taco Bell, and at the time he really didn't know it was a Taco Bell. He just knew it was something. And so in talks with them or negotiates with them, that we decided that we wanted to go with a bigger, tougher section. A concrete section is about a 50-year solution, where asphalt's about a 15-year solution. So the developer paid on his own the extra it would take to build such a section. So yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, but the cost of maintenance over time will be higher?
Actually, it's a little less for the first 15 years, and then about the same as it would on beyond. But we're not having to redo the 15-year cost there. The worst case in the next 15 years on a concrete section is replacing the joints and resealing the joints. It's relatively easy, especially on a smaller, it's only 200 so feet. There's probably about 20 joints out there.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Lynn? I encourage everybody to vote in favor of ordinance 5385 because this is exactly the way we ought to do business. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, I'm gonna get on the board before Commissioner Lynch, she's already talked. I agree with Commissioner Johnson. He said exactly probably what I would have said. I think that this is, so I hope y'all don't get confused. We need to move this and move it forward to Thursday's agenda. Okay. And Commissioner Lynch, do you have something else you need to talk?
I just have a question. Do we have any of this stuff in writing somewhere as to how we do this wonderful business that Matthew says?
Yes.
We do?
Yes, ma'am. Ordinance 40, I think it's section 40 of our code of ordinances expelled exactly how this process works.
Section 40?
I think it is. I think it just moved a couple years ago, but I think it's section 40 of our parish ordinances. It's called subdivisions, and it would be subdivisions. In this case, it would be subdivisions within the NPC. And it spells it out detail, page by page, exactly how it's, even down to the details of the Director of Public Works, what his responsibilities are.
Okay, can you get that to
It's on the
Ms. Frazier, Attorney Frazier?
Yes, to all of the commissioners.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, can we move this matter forward, have a motion on the floor?
Yes.
All those in favor, can vote now?
I got my beans, red beans and rice cooking.
What about those again?
Okay, that matter, after all that debate, it passes 10-0. Next item.
Authorized resolution number 5, authorizing the Caddo Community Action Agency to administer the Head Start program for year 2014.
Moved by the chair, seconded by Commissioner Williams. No discussion. Please vote.
I had my first job working in mopping floors.
That passes
That's appropriate.
10-0. Next item.
Authorized resolution number 6, to authorize Caddo Parish Administrator to request and authorize Louisiana State Mineral and Energy Board.
Hey, shh. Now keep it down. We can't hear, please. Please. We got
Advertise for oil,
business
gas,
to
and
take care
mineral
of.
leases. Accept bids and award, execute oil, gas, and minerals. Tacoma Energy Requester.
Moved by the chair. Seconded by Commissioner Johnson. No discussion. Commissioner Lynch. We're going to talk about, is this the one we're going to talk about in the Natural Resource Committee? What we talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
But it's on the agenda now, so I have a question.
All right.
Is this in the neighborhood or is this out in the woods?
Commissioner, I would imagine it's out in the woods.
That was funny how you said that.
It's in District 1, so I can assure you that it'll be in the woods. Yes, he wants to know where it's at.
It's way up north. It's close to the intersection of Highway 1 and 173.
I have no point of reference on that. Is it
It's
in the neighborhood or is it out in the woods?
Well, I've got a map here. It's probably not going to help you much, so it doesn't have any cities on it. It's a little bit east of Blanchard.
Are there people around? Is it in a neighborhood or is it out in the?
The part that we're leasing is in a subdivision. That's what we're leasing, to the streets in that subdivision, but it's not a real populated subdivision. It's still very rural out there.
That's the north part.
Is this in the, do you know the demographics of the neighborhood?
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay, but you do have a map we can look at later.
Yeah, I can show it to you at the meeting afterwards.
Thank you.
Please vote. That passes 10-0. Next item.
Authorized resolution number 7, notice of intention to construct and improve a water line within the right-of-way of a portion of Maggie Lane.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, seconded by Commissioner Bowman. Commissioner Lynch.
How big is this subdivision? I know it said, I think 10 houses or 9 or 10 people are gonna be able to,
Yes, ma'am. We're just 10 houses, 10 pieces of property, 10 houses.
so it's all the houses in the subdivision?
Yes, ma'am. It's off of Overton Brooks, between Overton Brooks and Ellaby Road.
Okay, and so what part do we have the right of way?
We have the road right away. We have a 60-foot road easement through there, and this water line will be installed inside of our road easement. One of the houses currently have water. They're already connected to the city. They're right on Overton Brooks, and they've signed the petition too to go ahead and sign up so they can move their water connection to the actual property, to the front of the house, to the side of the house on Overton Brooks.
How old is this subdivision?
How old is Mike Thibodeau?
Not quite
That's
that old, about 35, 40 years old.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Lynn? Mr. Ward, the third whereas on here, it says Section 52150 Caddo Parish Code Ordinances, the above described property owners abutting the portion of Maggie Lane shall assume 90% of the cost of construction. That's exactly what we did on Goldsberry Road, isn't it?
That is correct.
And that's been the standard Caddo Parish protocol?
That is correct.
Thank you,
This
sir.
will-
That's everything.
this will
Mr.
be
Williams?
I'm just trying to find the demographic and the profile of what are the income level for people in that road?
I have no idea.
You don't know? I guess Mike Thibodeau would know.
Commissioner Thibodeau?
They're all working people. There's none of them on the Mardi Gras plan. They go to work every day, and there's probably several retired people. But it's fairly high income, and the houses are nice. They're older homes, but nice. And this just fits the standard ordinance that we
I like the
passed
comment,
about 2 years
they're
ago.
working people. Second question, what cost would it cost the parish portion?
The
I know
total
we're going to
construct-
get reimbursed on the project.
Yes, sir. The total construction cost, the estimated construction cost at this time is $81,200, with the parish assuming $8,120 of that, and the final cost of the residents will be $73,000. The average price paid by a resident is about $6,900.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Lynch.
Yeah, I wanted to get a copy of the petition.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Can we please vote at this time? That passes 10-0. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Discuss formation of a joint fairgrounds complex ad hoc committee with the City of Shreveport, State Fair Board, and key stakeholders.
Commissioner Lynch, can you give us an update on what you're...
Yes, at our last intergovernmental meeting, this was one of the topics that was on the agenda, and I know it's one that we've been discussing with various commissioners over probably a good period of time. And City Councilman Jeff Everson expressed an interest because he has a background in working with the municipal auditorium and historic tax credits, and we kind of briefly had a side conversation afterwards. I think it was Commissioner Cox, Chris, Commissioner Escaday, and Councilman Everson as to maybe some potential ways that we can work with them from a tax increment plan or to historic tax credits. There are some things that are on the table that can be put on the table to help with that entire project, not just the Hearst, but the complex itself. But I think what came out of that is that we needed to have a committee formed, a joint committee formed with representatives from the State Fair Board, the commission, and the city, and just want to kind of move forward with getting that started, Mr. President.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh, my councilman is chairman of the commission of the city council now.
Yeah.
Councilman Shine. So, whatever we can do to kind of pull that together. I know Commissioner Bowman, Joyce Bowman, was something that she was working on, and
Whose district is that in your, Gerald, is that your district?
and I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
He picked it up, and Commissioner Cox, of course, has been working with Chris in discussing this and some other projects. But anyway, I know that there's a high interest right now in seeing something done, just to at least beginning the conversations and having the stakeholders at the table.
What, Commissioner Smith?
Ken, can I get you to come forward with me? Since we've taken care here this afternoon of resolution number 7, which was going to be in our committee this afternoon, and also the oil and gas on Tacoma, so I don't see a need to have this committee meeting unless there's something on Windermere Estate Streets that we need to cover.
I think Robert was going to talk about Windermere.
So you still want to have that meeting?
Well, what I'll do, because that's
Okay.
an item, Commissioner.
Okay, we'll continue.
Commissioner Smith, that's an item that I requested be put on, and I can save it to your next meeting.
Well, I'm
Okay.
open, whatever the committee wants to do.
Yeah.
Robert, what do you want us to do?
Well, it's
Yeah, I don't think this needs to go to the natural resources. You talking about this discussion on the fairgrounds, is that what he said?
No, I don't, you called
Yeah.
on him, but he was
That's
talking
right.
about something else.
Okay. Well, let's, you and I talk about this, we'll see what we can do to, 'cause I'd like to know how many people on the city council are interested, and we need to know kind of how many on the commission would be interested.
No, Commissioner, City Councilman Everson
Yes.
is.
Yes.
I did not talk with any of the other city council
Okay.
people, so it may be more than him, but I do know that he did specifically request.
Commissioner Bowman?
Yes.
Oh, let me
I'm
say,
sorry, go ahead.
let me go back to Commissioner Smith's, I want to pull that item. I can wait till your next meeting. We
Well,
don't
I'm
have to meet
open, I'll
today.
do whatever the
Yeah,
committee
I
wants
want
to
to,
do.
I want to pull it.
Pull what?
Okay.
Where you cancel.
Okay, we'll cancel this meeting. Thank you.
So what do you want to pull, Stephanie?
Off his agenda that
Oh,
he
you had
spoke
something, okay, okay. All right, Gerald, did you have anything, Commissioner Bowman?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to add, the next time that y'all have the, not the intergovernmental meeting, but when we do have the committee meeting, I plan to be a part of it, being as in my district. That's all.
Okay, thank you. And next item?
Consent agenda?
Okay. And move to adjourn, we are adjourned.
For 27 seconds.
Check on my feed.
Hey, everybody, Karen brought about the legislative priority list.
This is.